Welcome back. My name is Teresa and I'm very much alive. Or am I? I don't know. I stopped feeling feelings a long time ago. Hey, that rhymed. I have an awful, garbage, filthy mouth where sometimes, just sometimes, I tend to use the word fuck as a comma. I know, it's disturbing and I should be stopped, but I haven't. Better luck next time. If you're not into that or weird stuff in general, this is definitely not the place for you. Feel free to exit the video here. No harm, no foul. But I'll remember our time fondly. My hair is way too long. I don't know what to do with it. So if I keep touching it, I'm sorry. It's like that weird, middle school age where it's like, I don't know what to do with it. And it keeps flipping and I'm starting to look like a husky Dutch boy and I can't stand it. In today's video, I am reviewing 2 items from the Melt Cosmetics Beetlejuice collection. And you're probably asking why. Well, Tina, I wasn't completely blown away. The artwork and the concept of the collection is amazing, although the mirror, I wish that could have been done better. And when I look at the collection as a whole, there were a lot of products that I know I wasn't going to be using. Don't get me wrong though, the PR box is absolutely stunning, and had there been an option just to buy the PR box, I totally would. So in today's review, I'm going to be talking about the recently deceased palette as well as the Afterlife liner. But let me tell you a little bit about the palette first. Recently deceased palette, this palette retails for $48. Oops, you're dead. Welcome to the first day of your afterlife. A pressed pigment palette with 8 strange and unusual shades inspired by Beetlejuice himself. Vibrant purples, manic greens, and mossy yellows, complete with a custom press of the ghost with the most. So for $48, what exactly do you get? You get this one beautiful palette. The artwork online does not do it justice. This has to be one of the coolest palettes I have ever seen. The case is very sturdy, it's thick plastic, and it has these accents of like a dirty, like slime green, like mirror within the palette. It's really cool. And the artwork is Sandworm Beetlejuice. Again, pictures online do not do this justice at all. Now when you open up the palette, you get a full-size mirror. I appreciate that this is the kind of palette that you can actually sit it upright and do your makeup and know that the mirror is not going to fall back. And the mirror is big enough that you can actually do your whole face of makeup. I think the coolest thing in this whole palette's concept is the actual like insert that they have to protect the shadows. It's really hard to tell what this is, but it's actually a film still from the movie. And this is when the Maitlands first called Beetlejuice. It's really fucking cute. It's so cute. Finally, an insert that I'm not going to immediately throw on the floor and watch Alex slip and almost break his neck. Sorry. While I really appreciate this, I wish it was like a scotch lighter because it's kind of hard to tell. But whatever, it's still fucking cool. Then you get 8 shades, and you'll notice that some of the shades actually have Beetlejuice stamped in the pan, making this palette so fucking adorable. I can't. So let's break it down shade by shade. Beetlejuice. This is a lime green matte shade. The shade is very pigmented, which is great, and it didn't have any kick up or fallout, and it blended beautifully with the other shades. I didn't notice any sort of fading or patchiness. This shade worked perfectly. The only thing that is a little weird is that at times, I think this lime green has more of a yellow base, so sometimes the edges of the shadow can oxidize and leave more of like this neon yellow effect. Again, not the end of the world, I'm okay with it, but it's just something I wanted to note. Paranormal. This is a deep emerald metallic shade. On the eye, it's absolutely stunning. Especially when you pair it with the purple shades, I find that it pops more. That said, I used a fair amount of glitter glue when applying this shadow. And while there was some light fallout, and at times there was a little bit of difficulty cleaning it up, the thing that kind of was a little bit weird about the shadow is that when I applied it with glitter glue, there was a slight warmth to the eye. Not quite a spicy butthole, but more of like a, ooh, there's a finger in my ass. You know what I mean? Like, ooh, that's different. It's not really truly upsetting, but you're like, oh, that's okay. All right, we're into that next phase of our relationship. You know what I mean? That's how the shadow feels. It's the only way I can explain it. Draw a door. This is a dirty mustard shade. Another beautifully pigmented shade that was very easy to blend, easy to use, easy to work with. There was a little touch of fallout, but incredibly easy to clean. Neurotic. It's a bright gold green metallic color. Not quite like Dirty Money, but more like Mutant Money, if that makes sense. This is one of my favorite shades because it was incredibly easy to use. I had no issues with any warmth from the glitter glue, and I found that the longevity was great on it. There was no kick up, but there was a tiny bit of fallout, but again, incredibly easy to clean. I actually loved putting this shade on the center of my lid, especially over another metallic or satin shade, because I found that it really popped the center of my lid, especially over the shade Paranormal. By mixing those two together, it actually created some blue-green effect, which was so fucking pretty. I really, really love that shade as kind of not only on its own, but like a transformative shade. So the next 4 shades that I'm going to talk about are the pressed pigments in this palette. Recently Deceased. It's a cool tone purple with a satin finish. It's technically described as metallic, but I did not see any sort of metallicness in that shade. And this is another one that required glitter glue to kind of show a little bit of pop. It does require to be built up, but once you do build it up, it's a very, very beautiful purple shade. There was some kick up and some fallout. The fallout at times could be a little difficult to clean depending on what kind of brush you're using. I find that if it's like a big fluffy brush, you're fine, but if it's something a little bit smaller, sometimes it tends to like smear. And this is the other shade in the palette that with a little bit of glitter glue, there is some warmth to the eye. Lost Souls. This shade is a matte cool tone purple. It looks somewhat similar to Recently Deceased. I found that this shade worked very well with the other matte shade that's in this palette, Bio Exorcist. When using those two shades together, it creates this beautiful royal purple. It stains like a motherfucker, but it's very, very beautiful. Hence why I still have fucking pink stains on my hands after a couple of days. Love that for me. There was some slight kick up, practically no fallout. This was a really good shade. Little Accident. This is the magenta shade in the bottom row. This shade is interesting because it has a lovely sheen to it. It's not quite a metallic shade, but it's a little more than a satin shade. This pairs very, very well with Neurotic. I think out of the whole bottom row, this might be my favorite shade. And it's my favorite shade because of how well it worked with the other shimmers in this palette. It blends so beautifully. It creates this beautiful ombre effect. It's such a good shade. And when used with glitter glue, I didn't notice any warmth, and I found that it blended so easily and so seamlessly. Really, really love this shade. And the last shade in this palette is Bio Exorcist. This is a matte purple with a warm undertone. I found this shade to be pigmented, easy to use, easy to blend, practically no kick up or fallout in pan. There was some staining with this shade, and after a day or so on the eye, it completely goes away. However, on the hand, not so much. We're going on day 3. And again, I found this shade in Lost Souls when mixed together is like utter perfection. Okay, so here's the deal here. The bottom row is too fucking similar. Just too fucking similar. In pan, you see slight differences within the purple shade, but on the eye, it all looks the same. I feel like they could have lost 2 of the purple shades and replaced it with 2 other colors that are on Beetlejuice, and it would have been just fine. The amount of looks you can create with this palette doesn't offer a lot of variety if you're staying within this palette. I also found at times that depending on the colors that you're using, sometimes the colors did not mix well. I was using the shades Draw Door, which is the mustard shade, as well as Bio Exorcist, and that's probably my own error with this one. Something about like a mustard yellow with the purple just kind of turned into brown and it just looked like I just took a shit on my eyes. Not cute. But once you figure out the color combinations and how they work for you, it's fucking great. Like they all work beautifully together. It's just you gotta really be careful with your color combinations. Or just, you know, be better at makeup. That helps too. Who are we fucking kidding here, okay? You know I'm not a makeup artist, all right? Psst. I find Melt's palettes to be on the pricier side, and with all the inconsistencies within the palettes, you're really taking a gamble by purchasing a palette from Melt. I was surprised to see that this palette was $48. I think for what you're getting and how many looks you can create, I think it would be more appropriately priced at like at least $35. But at the end of the day, this is an expensive companion piece. I bought the last Melt palette and I hated it. I hated it so much. It was so difficult to work with that I ultimately returned it because it just wasn't worth the hassle. I'm happy to report that I didn't have any of those experiences that I had in the 420 palette with this palette. Honestly, even though I'm being fairly critical with this, I had a fucking blast playing with this palette. I legitimately enjoyed making weird kind of crazy color looks, looking like a fucking swamp creature. I had so much fun and they were incredibly easy to use. I really cannot stress how much fun I'm having with this palette. I have been on such a neutral kick lately that it was just nice going back to grungy, fucked up colors. It really was. It opened the dumpster fire that's within me. Anyway, I enjoyed this palette so much that I actually fucking bought the other one. Something that I wasn't going to do, but I was like, shit, if it's anything like this, this, I need to have it in my life. And I also, full disclosure, I did purchase it during like this weird whatever Sephora Rouge bullshit sale is that I think unfortunately probably ending now. If you spend $75, you get $25 off. So I purchased the red palette because it is $58. The reason for that is there are 2 additional shades. So in any case, expect a review on that whenever I get it, but this is fucking fun. It's expensive for what it is. So if you are interested in getting it and you have an opportunity to get it on sale, get it on sale. But if you did pay for it full price, I don't think you'd be too upset about it. It is a lot of fucking fun playing with this palette. All right, the next product we're gonna talk about is the Afterlife Gel Liner. The Afterlife Gel Liner retails for $19. Neon Chartreuse Ultra Matte. This hue was intentionally created sheer to create the perfect neon tone that isn't pastel. So this little gel liner comes in this adorable little pot, and this is the first gel liner that I have tried from the brand. I have tried their pencils. Not a fan. I didn't find them to be worth, 1, the price point, and 2, they didn't stay in my waterline. I have notoriously sensitive eyes and very watery eyes because I'm always crying for the sadness in the world, and it just did not stay. So I really am hellbent on trying to find liners that stay in the waterline. I'm happy to say that these actually really do. So I can understand why there's such a huge hype around them. Now, when the Beetlejuice collection was announced, I knew I was picking up this liner because this color was unique to my collection. My favorite liners as of late have been from Lethal Cosmetics, and they do have a green one, but they don't have this beautiful chartreuse color. You kind of have to like mix a couple of colors to kind of get it, but it's not quite this fucking mutant dream. It really isn't. So that's why I was very, very excited to pick this up. This is really fucking great, and I can understand why people love it so much. The formula is wonderfully creamy, the texture is so smooth, and it applies easily in the waterline. I have not used this above the lash line, so I can't comment to say like, oh, I can make this crazy wing. I don't normally do wings or anything like that because it looks fucking stupid on me. So that's why I utilize all this stuff in the waterline. And in the waterline, it's so good. The only thing I will say is that while it lasted pretty well in the waterline, on the outer corners, it did fade a little bit. But again, my eyes are very watery, so shit like that happens. So for the most part, I would say that these are waterproof. The other thing that I love about this too is that this liner works with other liners. My new favorite thing is to kind of create these ombre effects within my liners because since I don't do any sort of crazy fucking wing or anything like that, I like to draw focus on the bottom lash line. And so what I like to do is like I'll put down one base and then I'll either blend them together or sometimes I'll use 2 shades to create a new color. And I'm happy to say and report back that this works well with other gel liners that I have in my collection. My only complaint with the shade is that I find this to be a little bit more yellow than it is green. While it does take at least 2 coats for it to become truly opaque, which is fine because even in the description it says that it's a sheer formula. I find that it looks a little bit more yellow than it does green. Other than that, they're fucking awesome, and I wish they were slightly cheaper because they retail for $19 and I'm like, ooh, fuck me, like that's fucking expensive. For example, Lethal Cosmetics, their liners are about $15.50, and if you use my code GARBAGE, you can save 10% off. Not affiliated, but affiliated. But like I don't make any money, it's just for you. And if you're interested in getting Inglot, those liners are fucking great, and those are $16. So I kind of wish that they were like a few bucks cheaper, but I'm not super mad about it because the product's fucking good. So it's like, I get it. Like they need to make money too. I get it. Anyway, I'm excited to try more shades in this gel liner. And I want to say a very, very special thank you to Ashley because I recently just went to my P.O. box where I'm going to be doing another mail time towards the end of the month. And I opened the box. She sent me 2 liners as well as a liner brush from Melt. So I just want to say thank you. I'm so excited. I now have a little Melt liner collection and I love your face. Thank you so much. So yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised that I actually liked both of these products a lot. Please expect a review on the other palette, the red palette, sometime in the future whenever the fuck it shows up. With that said, I want to hear from y'all. Let me know down below if you picked up anything from this collection or if you're gonna skip out or whatnot. Let me know because I'd love to hear from you. And with that said, I want to say thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it as always. Feel free to like, comment, hit that subscribe button, it's free, and hit that bell icon for notification of all my future posts. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Patreon. To all my beautiful, wonderful patron bubbies, thank you so much for keeping this disgusting, filthy, disturbing, husky, Charleston chew. I don't know, it was like the thing that just popped in my head. Garbage boat afloat. I couldn't do without you, and I love your faces for it. If you want to know what is currently on my face and where to get my holiday merch and my podcast and all that stuff, everything will be listed in the description box below. And I'll see you little pumpkins later. Bye.